This is CBC Here and Now.
Drink Up! U.S. alcohol is returning to the shelves for a short time, and this time the profits are going to charity. I'll have more coming up tonight on Here and Now.
The inquiry respecting the treatment, experiences, and outcomes of Innu in the child protection system continued last week. I'll have more on that coming up.
Pleasure for us to be here today.
When you pitch something like this to come to a children's hospital, especially this time of year, the guys are always on board.
The Newfoundland Regiment paid a visit to the Jane Wayne Children's Hospital. I'm Jeremy Eaton, and I'll have that story coming up.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. Over $3 million worth of American alcohol will be available for purchase again, and now government says the profits will go to a good cause. The CBC's Jenna Head reports.
Pressure mounted for the PCs this week after CBC reported $3.2 million worth of American alcohol remained in storage, and the Newfoundland Liquor Corporation didn't have a plan for the product after it was removed from shelves in response to U.S. President Donald Trump's trade war earlier this year. Today, Finance Minister Craig Party announced the government's plan for the NLC's impromptu liquor cabinet.
We will be returning the alcohol that is currently in storage to the shelves of our NLC outlets, as well as our stores throughout the Liquor Express throughout the province.
And the profits from those restocked spirits will mean a nice check for the Community Food Sharing Association.
Today, we will confirm that there will be 500,000, $500,000 will be provided in advance to the Community Food Sharing, with the remainder of the $1 million forthcoming as the sales have ended.
That means the American booze in your cup this holiday season will help put food in people's bellies.
I can't even imagine what this is going to do to help to support put food on tables.
The NLC CEO says products will return to shelves as early as Wednesday in some locations, and the booths headed to Labrador will take off on Thursday. His one request for customers is patience.
It's the busiest time for our staff in our stores, so they're going to be trying to do this at the same time as dealing with customer traffic and things like that.
The NLC won't be restocking American booze once this lot of product is sold, but for the Community Food Sharing Association, it means they will have a very Merry Christmas. Jenna Head, CBC News, St. John's.
Now to news from the courts. Sentencing submissions are now complete in the case of Austin Deer, a 73-year-old who killed two young women in January of 2024. There's a good chance Deer will be incarcerated, but the question now will be if he's sentenced to house arrest or receives jail time. The Mount Pearl man pleaded guilty to 2 charges of dangerous driving causing death following a head-on collision that took the lives of Haley Keating and Aaron Pretty, both 22 at the time. Deer will be sentenced in Clarenville Provincial Court on February 6th. The Crown wants 3 to 4 years of jail time and a driving prohibition of 5 to 10 years. However, defense attorney Rosellen Sullivan wants a conditional sentencing order or house arrest of 2 years with a 2-year driving ban.
He should get what he deserves. The 2 girls are gone because of his actions and no other reason. I don't feel that house arrest would be sufficient enough. I really think even what the Crown asked for is not enough.
And still with news from the courts, final arguments were presented in the trial of a St. John's man charged with manslaughter following the death of a 71-year-old man. Desmond Downey is accused of assaulting Douglas Hunt in 2022 with a blow that broke his neck and caused a fatal brain bleed. Mark Quinn reports.
Defense lawyer Jason Edwards called on Justice Vikas Kaladkar to acquit 56-year-old Downey. He said that Crown lawyers did not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Downey struck Hunt on March 3, 2022. Hunt was outside Downey's home to ask Amanda Boland's permission to cremate her recently deceased mother. Hunt was in a long-term relationship with Boland's mother. Boland lived with Downey. Edwards said the person sitting next to Hunt when they were approached by Downey gave conflicting testimony. saying first that he saw Downey strike Hunt and then that he didn't. Edwards also said that if the justice did accept that Hunt was struck by Downey, he still could not find him guilty of manslaughter. A manslaughter conviction requires that a reasonable person would objectively expect that their action would cause bodily harm that was more than transitory or trifling. Edwards argued that if Downey did assault Hunt, it was a push or a slap that could not be expected to cause more than transitory or trifling bodily harm. In his submission, Crown lawyer Robert Roach called on the judge to convict Downey of manslaughter. Roach said the province's chief medical examiner testified that Hunt died as the result of blunt force trauma that broke his neck. Roach said there was no evidence that something else happened, and the only reasonable inference was that the strike to Hunt's head caused his death. Roach also said that it is objectively foreseeable that striking a 71-year-old man risks causing bodily harm. Justice Kaladkar is expected to give his decision on January 30th. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, a 32-year-old man is facing attempted murder charges after an incident in St. John's last night. The RNC responded to Anspach Street just before 7 o'clock. Police say a man was screaming and banging on doors in an apartment building. 2 women with serious injuries were transported to hospital. One of those victims is in critical condition. A man was also assaulted by the same suspect. The 32-year-old is now facing 2 charges of attempted murder as well as several assault charges. Well, now to Labrador. The need for less government and more Indigenous-led services has been one of the consistent messages from the inquiry involving Innu and the child protection system. Virtual hearings were held last week. The CBC's Regan Burden has more.
In the 7th week of formal hearings of the inquiry into the treatment, experiences, and outcomes of Innu and the child protection system, the commissioners heard from researchers, both academics and Innu working in the communities.
And we've seen, just from the presentations and the individuals we've heard from, that there's a lot of resilience in the community and there's a real willingness to take on that role.
The presentation spoke about how the Innu were traumatized by colonialism and how the child welfare system is not working for the community, something that the Innu knew all along.
We've always went to the government and said that this is not working for us. And I think that when the research has been done, it just points out more to government that Innu need to lead their own services and that they can.
The commissioners say that the research they heard further confirmed what they had been hearing from community members, and that included the importance of land-based services and programs.
It seems that oftentimes the whole notion of land-based services didn't fit into the parameters of the programs and services from a Western point of view. So I think it's really important that that the programs and services be open to that, because it's almost like a default should be that be something that'll be part of a program. Maybe not every program, but certainly for most programs.
The commissioners say that a key message they want to share in their report is that funding and approaches need to be sustained.
To make the changes to develop a healthy community will take decades. Like, this is not a quick fix, and I think that government really needs to make a long-term commitment to the Innu in this regard.
When the inquiry picks back up in the new year, they'll have to do another 4 death investigations, and they'll hear from some more researchers. Following that, they'll have roundtables with Innu leadership and community members to make sure that their report is accurate and isn't missing any information that the Innu want to see included. The commissioners say that they are determined and confident that their report will be completed by their deadline, October 31st, 2026. Regan Burden, CBC News, Happy Valley Goose Bay.
The highest billing doctor in the province is now suspended from practicing medicine. Dr. Harry Dang was suspended by the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Newfoundland and Labrador on December 5th. He's an ophthalmologist in St. John's who was working at the Jackman Eye Institute. Dang billed $4.9 million to the Provincial MCP in the last fiscal year. A spokesperson for the college would not comment on the reason for the suspension. CBC tried to contact Dr. Harry Dang, but has not not heard back. In a statement, Jackman Eye Institute CEO Matthew Head says Dang has not been practicing with the company since his suspension, and they're awaiting the outcome of the College of Physicians and Surgeons review. Well, 1 year ago this week, former Liberal Premier Andrew Furey signed the Churchill Falls Memorandum of Understanding with Hydro-Quebec. But now that the Liberals are the official opposition, they're pressuring the PC government on its promise to appoint an independent review panel before the holidays. As the April 2026 deadline to finalize an agreement approaches, Liberal leader John Hogan says he's losing hope.
It was an aggressive but not an impossible timeline to get to April 2026. I mean, I've worked around the table when we've done negotiations at law firms. It does take time. There's a lot of back and forth, as Mr. Hutton said, 10 or 12 definitive agreements. But when there's a will to get things done, you can get them done. But we've already slipped, I would say, 2 months from that timeline right now. I know that I assume that the independent review has to be done before Mr. Wakem proceeds with any more negotiations. I don't know how long the independent review is going to need. So I think you're seeing the April 2026 timeline slip away.
Now, a statement from the Premier's office says government will launch an independent review of the MOU shortly, and the goal is for this work to be completed promptly and correctly. In other news, the province is calling on Ottawa to increase funding for childcare. Provincial Education Minister Paul Dinn says he's written a letter to the Federal Minister of Families asking for an increase in funding. Dinn says as the program stands now, the province reaches its maximum allocation too fast every year.
This year, we have about 1,400 early learning and child care spaces that have been approved and are currently in development. So nothing's come to a complete halt. These are projects that are going to come out, and they will all operate at $10 a day daycare. And out of those projects, I think there's about 50. I stand to be corrected. It varies. 58 is about the ballpark. We'll say 60 of these projects are there, and we expect that in the next 3 to 4 months, we will see about 20 of those projects open, and they will accommodate 540 spaces. So these 1,400 will continue to open. So it's not that everything's come to a halt. It's these spaces will be ongoing. And there's no denying that we, as a new government, support $10 a day daycare. Our budget space for the creation of a $10 a day daycare program created by the federal government has basically reached its allocation for this year. So, with a little over 3 months to go to the next fiscal year. So the federal government contribution that we've reached our maximum allocation there. So, to keep creating spaces, we need more money from the federal government.
Now, the NDP responded to those remarks. Leader Jim Dinn says he has doubts about the timeline proposed.
Unfortunately, it's not the only program that we've encountered lately where federal money seems to have an impact, where the programming has seemed to have dried up, and it's impacting housing. It's impacting, when it comes to other needs in the community. So I want to see if there's 540 new spaces that are going to be approved in 3 to 4 months. We'll see. And I hope that's the case. But based on my own experience when talking to other parents, that doesn't always work out.
Well, a sure sign of winter in St. John's today. The Loop is open for the season. It didn't open last year until Christmas Eve, so this is much earlier. The skating loop in Bannerman Park is open daily from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. when conditions are favorable.
Well, hopefully it's not too short-lived because there is some rain in the forecast. But my goodness, was it another windy night last night. Winds were gusting anywhere from 95 kilometers per hour to 140 kilometers per hour. The good news is we're in for a little less wind as we head through the next couple of days. But we do have another area of low pressure that is going to bring some rain, like I said. And unfortunately, some much warmer conditions. I'll get into all that a little later.
And Now with Glenn Tilley and Ann Budgell.
Good evening, everyone. In Newfoundland and Labrador tonight.
You gotta wait till the negotiations are over.
They use 90 to 120-foot longliners.
The center is scheduled to shut down at the end of this month.
The Newfoundland Regiment hockey team paid a visit to the Janeway Children's Hospital in St. John's today to meet some children and donate the proceeds that they had collected at the teddy bear toss held at the Mary Brown Centre.
How's it going? Hey, bud.
Obviously, this time of year is super important for us to get out to the Janeway Children's Hospital. We've been connected with them all season. They've been super big supporters of us, and it's easy for us to give back to the community in this way. And we're just here. We had our annual teddy bear toss yesterday, the first one with the regiment, and we're bringing some teddy bears to share with the children here today at the hospital.
That's how you make friends with her.
What are you doing? This is amazing. Is that a cow?
It's
So wonderful, because we try to make sure that we're focused here on the whole child, bringing joy to the care that is provided here and making sure that the children are happy and content so that they enjoy coming to the Children's Hospital. As you can hear, it's a happy place and a fun place to come to so that kids have a better relationship with their care in the long term and they grow up into adults that have a positive relationship with their health care.
That is 3 and 5, so my score is 8.
I mean, it's really nice. Like, we appreciate doing like things like that and stuff. Like, it's part of our job and like to give to the next people in our community and stuff. So we really appreciate it, and it's a pleasure for us to be here today.
He's looking at the brain.
No, that's the easy part about my job is the players have always been really good about that stuff when we need to get out in the community. And when you pitch something like this to come to a children's hospital, especially this time of year, the guys are always on board.
I mean, it's really nice. Like, we're here for hockey for sure, but like I said, like, we're here for the community and make sure like people are proud of us, and so we really appreciate being here, and like, it's lovely. Like, we really love it.
They love to see community members and to see those hockey players that they idolize on the ice come in and be part of it. They really appreciate, and the families really appreciate, the community involvement in what they do. And when people give back to the care, it's really meaningful to them because they're going through some of the hardest days of their lives. We've seen that here this morning. And when the community gives back in lots of different ways and supports their care, it's really meaningful.
The temporary suspension of some provincial court services has created significant challenges for St. John's. That's according to the mayor. Last week, CBC reported that several court services, including civil and traffic hearings, have been suspended indefinitely in St. John's, Grand Falls, Windsor, and Stephenville. Mayor Danny Breen says the ongoing delays could cost the city tens of thousands of dollars.
It's having a significant impact on the city. We have parking tickets that are that the right to appeal parking tickets happens in traffic court. They haven't been heard for some time. I think it's back to September since they've been able to contest those tickets. So those tickets that are in the system could have an impact of tens of thousands of dollars on the city. It also impacts our property inspections. If we need access to a home for an inspection and we can't get permission from the owner of the property, our recourse is to go to court to get access to the property. We don't have that opportunity now, so that presents a challenge for us. And if we do have a property issue that is not agreed to by the owner of the property, they have to challenge that in court, and we have challenged it in court in order to enforce it, and that opportunity is not there. So this has a big impact. We're pleased that the province is taking action on how to address the issue, but our hope is that it can be solved soon, and we can get the courts back to do what they're supposed to be doing, and that's enforcing the law.
toward your vehicle.
Well, Ashley, feels like a lot of snow came down yesterday and last night.
Yeah, for some areas for sure. We did see quite a bit of snow adding on top of the snow that we've already seen. So it feels like there's a lot on the ground. But let's take a look at those numbers from yesterday. Terra Nova picked up 20 centimeters of snow. St. Albans 19.5. St. John's 15 centimeters. And then Gander picked up about 11 centimeters of snow. But you have 54, I believe, 54, 57 centimeters on the ground at the moment. So certainly an early start to winter. That's for sure. The cameras outside look very different than they did yesterday. Wet pavement at the moment, and we are going to see a little bit of rain as we head through at least Thursday. It looks like we may see some milder temperatures continue over the next couple of days, at least for the east. Now it's still chilly, -6, and those winds are out of the west, gusting upwards of 46 kilometers per hour, much less wind than we saw yesterday, that's for sure. But if we take a look at the cameras at other places, in other places across the province, particularly the west coast, there are lots of snow squalls on the go, and we can see that on the satellite and radar here. This westerly flow along with those colder temperatures, perfect recipe for snow squalls, and we're seeing them as well for the Burin Peninsula, southern areas of the Avalon. And then some of these squalls are making their way towards central areas of the island, not nearly as intense as you're seeing on the west coast, but there is still the chance that we will see that as we head through the overnight tonight. And the temperatures are cool. Sitting in the minus single digits with -10 wind chills, and up across Labrador -27 right now is what it feels like in Lab City. Makkovik feels more like -26, and temperatures for you are just going to continue to drop. So the snow squall activity really for the west coast will start to meander a little bit further north as those winds shift a little bit tonight, and basically will continue. But the Green Bay, White Bay area, you may see some squalls, and again through central, you may see some as well, and then up across Labrador. Generally quiet, just the chance of a few flurries in the mix there for you as we head through the overnight tonight. And that's basically it as far as the weather goes. Now, those of you that are seeing the snow squalls, you could pick up quite a bit of snow, especially in those persistent squalls. Some areas still left to fall could see upwards of 10 to as much as 15 centimeters of snow. Higher elevations, though, likely the highest, and in those more persistent squalls as well, you could pick up upwards of 30 centimeters of snow before that is all said and done. Temperatures tonight will dip to -23 for Lab City. Again, you'll feel those wind chills in the -30s overnight tonight. The rest of Labrador between -11 and 15. And then across the island, temperatures are actually going to warm up a little bit as we head towards the early morning hours tomorrow. Single digits, but about -3 or -4 for the south coast. And the Avalon still looking at some breezy conditions tonight with those westerly winds between 40 to 50 kilometers per hour. Now, as we head into tomorrow, we'll eventually start to see the snow squall activity ease up. And it'll be fairly quiet to start the day. Most of us will be seeing some sunshine, quiet up across Labrador as well. But the quiet is short-lived. Our next area of low pressure will move in. We'll see some snow start for the southwestern corner of the island. And then eventually we'll see either showers or rain for the southern areas of the island as we head towards Wednesday evening, and then potentially starting at snow for the Avalon, but I do think that's going to quickly change over to rain as those temperatures warm up through the night and into Thursday. Most of us across the island will actually be seeing some periods of rain in the mix by the time we get into Thursday morning. And then the northern peninsula, this will fall as snow, at least to start. But the afternoon, by the time we get into Thursday afternoon, your temperatures are going to warm up and it will change to rain. So these cold temperatures for tomorrow, like I said, they're starting to warm up, but still a little bit on the chilly side. Those winds will still be out of the southwest as well, between 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. So even though the temperature will be around 0 degrees in St. John's, we'll still feel a bit of a wind chill. That will be the story as you head towards western areas of the island. And then the south coast, there you go, already starting to see those temperatures up above 0 tomorrow with that potential for some rain. Northern peninsula -single digits. Same thing for coastal areas of Labrador. And again, some snow up across Nain, where your temperature will hover around the 0 degree mark. But the rest of Labrador into the minus teens. Again, a few flurries in the mix there, but overall quiet weather. You will see those winds shift to more northwesterly winds with those gusts around 50 kilometers per hour. There is a warm up coming, single-digit temperatures. I'll get into that a little later.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, there has been a lot of interest in the industry potential of data centers in this province. Government has said it plans to explore the idea of data center companies being a possible hydropower customer. Now, a small cryptocurrency data center company based in Labrador, along with an Indigenous-led group, wants to partner with a company in Norway on a billion-dollar infrastructure project. I spoke with some of the people behind the proposal to learn more about it. Kind of walk me through your proposal.
So we're trying to connect Eastern Canada to Europe. So we're building the Leif Erikson subsea fiber cable from Norway into Labrador and then down through Quebec into Montreal.
And what is the purpose of this subsea cable?
Well, like all countries, we're trying to build our own connections. Right now, a lot of our data goes through the United States. So this will be a way for Canada to kind of take over its own internet connection and not be so dependent on the United States.
This sounds like a major infrastructure project, international infrastructure project. Give us a sense of the scale of this.
Yes, there are many subsea fiber cables all around the world. So most of your data goes through subsea fiber cables already. This would be a brand new one, but we're talking close to $1 billion for this type of project.
Okay. And you have a partner in Norway.
Yes.
It's Bulk Infrastructure.
Yeah.
It's a company that has experience with data centers and working with major companies.
Yeah.
So how did you get connected with that group?
Well, Bulk recognized the route as being the preferential route into Canada. Reached out to the IDLP and the Innu Nation, and we have a partnership with the Innu Nation and IDLP for Big Link Limited Partnership. So it was essentially a recommendation from the IDLP.
Okay. Mr. Rich, can you talk about the Innu Nation's role in this?
Well, it's actually IDLP who was mostly involved in this, and we have been to many meetings, and we're talking with our leaders as well, and also to other communities. This is really an important project to get connected for Labrador, because Labrador has been out of to the recent internet. So we want to bring the recent internet, the high-speed internet to Labrador and also we'll be talking with the leaders in other areas as well to be involved.
So you're talking $1 billion. Where's that money going to come from?
Initially, we'll have some government grants, some government partnerships. Some very big partners are already involved. They built projects like this before. So like your hyperscalers, a lot of companies that you've heard of before, Google, Microsoft, Meta. So initially, there's going to be some partners buying dark fiber from that subsea fiber cable. And then we'll obviously bring in some other partners as we expand. Yeah.
So there's been a lot of talk about data centers and AI lately, but for people who aren't super familiar with the concept of all of this, can you just explain what it is you're hoping to achieve with this?
We're trying to build a brand new industry. Right now, we already have 2 sites in Wabush and 1 in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Ideally, we're going to make a global hub in Labrador. This is a perfect location for this industry. Of course, the cold weather helps. The hydropower helps. So ideally, we're creating a new information highway through Labrador into Europe. And instead of exporting our power, we're exporting data.
The Premier has talked about data centers as being a potential alternative for use of hydropower for the Upper Churchill and for a potential Gull Island. Is this something that you're putting on the table in terms of a possibility, an alternative customer to Hydro-Quebec?
I believe so, yes. Like we would love to be able to use our resources in our province and hire Newfoundland Labradorians. This industry is obviously global, so there's a lot of places in the world that want to have this new industry. But ideally, yeah, we're able to to keep more of our resources in the province and build our own industry.
What would be the benefit to this province to have a project like this go forward?
Besides multiple hundreds of new employees, the construction will require a few thousand employees. Plus, as opposed to exporting our power for a cheap rate, we could keep the power in the province, have economic spin-offs of much more than we would have gotten having exported it.
Mm-hmm. The Prime Minister, you mentioned this, has talked about data sovereignty, that being a priority for Canada, and the possibility of those sorts of projects being put on the nation-building major projects list, which would allow certain projects to be fast-tracked and also give them certain exemptions from some federal laws. Is this something that you're hoping to achieve? Are you hoping you'll get your proposal on this major projects list?
Ideally, we could get on that list. We're going to need government support. It's a very large project, so we'll need all levels of government, federal, provincial, and municipal. But yeah, we'd love to have those discussions, and we've already started those discussions with the federal and provincial government.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to ask you, Mr. Rich, as well, like, what do you see the benefit being for Labrador to have something like this proceed?
One thing it will benefit Labrador is an economic for all Labrador. And also at the same time, we try to connect to the northern communities like Nain, Hopedale, and so on. And also Voice Bay can be connected as well to the new improved internet in Labrador.
Mm-hmm. One of the big issues with data centers, it has a pretty massive environmental impact. You need major cooling for data centers, which is one of the reasons why Labrador is such a great location, because of the cooler climate, and also you need a lot of water. The water consumption for these projects is massive. Are you concerned about that part of it, just the consumption of all of that water and the effect on the environment?
It's always a concern, but the water is not, there's no negative effect to the water. The water is used for cooling and then returned to the environment. So it evaporates. Yeah, so the water won't be affected. And of course, there is a lot of water in Labrador, but yeah, we are very concerned about the environment, and we want no negative effects, of course. So this industry gets a lot of bad press about the environment, but that's mostly on the coal and natural gas type power plants. Our industry, of course, would be 100% hydro, so there'll be no negative effects.
What are the timelines that you're hoping for here? Like, when would you like to see this get off the ground? Like, what are your timelines?
We're hoping to start next summer. The Leif Erikson subsea fiber cable has already started preliminary engineering. That's going to take 2 or 3 years to get constructed, of course. But yeah, we're hoping to start next summer.
Mm-hmm. We have heard of big projects coming to this province that haven't quite materialized yet. How realistic is this project?
I'd say we started in 2018. We built our first 2 sites. People said the same thing to us then, that how realistic is this project, and we've been operating now since 2018, 2019. So I believe it's very realistic. The computing power is not going down. I can't see us not needing less computing power in the next couple of years. So there's no reason why Newfoundland and Labrador can't be one of the global hubs of the internet in the next couple of years.
We've engaged also with the Innu Nation on this, and also the local governments in Natwashish and also Shihajich, and also we'll be engaging further with the Nanazi government and try to get as many people on board as much as we can.
What has the response been so far from the discussions that you've had?
Well, from Innu Nation, it's been very positive, and also to the others is very positive, and they're in full support of this project.
Well, the city of Mount Pearl released its 2026 budget today. The city has an overall budget of $62.6 million. Residents will not see any changes to the mill rate or water fees. The city is investing $565,000 into trail enhancements, playground renewal projects, and accessibility upgrades at the glacier. Plus, $1.3 million will be used for road maintenance, and that's an 18% increase over last year. And another $1.8 million will go to renewing the city's fleet, which will include electric and hybrid vehicles. And the city is also creating its first 5-year community safety and well-being plan at a cost of $200,000. Well, the cost of living is causing more and more Canadians to hit the wall financially. The latest Canadian consumer debtor profile shows that bankruptcies and consumer proposals are up across the country, but rates in Newfoundland and Labrador are much higher than the national average. Here now, Zach Gowdy has more.
You'll never get rid of insolvency entirely because life happens, right?
It seems life is happening to more and more Canadians, especially in Newfoundland and Labrador. The latest Canadian consumer debtor profile has been released, showing that consumer insolvency filings went up by 52% between 2021 and 2024. In just the 12 months leading up to September 30th, consumer insolvencies went up by 3% nationally, but here in Newfoundland and Labrador, they went up by 9%. Some provinces like Nova Scotia actually went down during this period, so it is a growing problem here. Now, what is insolvency? Technically, it's when a debtor meets two conditions. One, that they owe at least $1,000, and two, that they cannot meet their financial obligations or that the value of their assets is less than what they owe in debt. Now, a lot of people owe $1,000 on the credit card, especially at this time of year. Sean Stack is a licensed insolvency trustee. He says if one of those conditions applies to you, don't panic.
Just because you meet the test of being insolvent, quote unquote insolvent, doesn't mean that you need to file an insolvency. Many people meet that test based on owing $1,000, which is a low number, and their assets not adding up to how much they owe. You come out of school and you finance a vehicle and drive it off the lot, and technically you're insolvent because it depreciated, right? But if you do think that you're struggling with your debt and you're wondering what help is out there and how to find it, you want to go find trusted sources.
Licensed insolvency trustees like Sean Stack can make an insolvency filing on a person's behalf. That means either bankruptcy or, much more likely, a consumer proposal, which is an agreement that gives you more time to pay off your debt and or pay a smaller portion of your debt. According to the new debtor profile, only about 1 in 5 insolvency filings are for bankruptcy these days. 4 in 5 now result in a consumer proposal. The new profile also sheds light on why more Canadians are landing in financial difficulty. The number one reason folks gave: the loss of income, affecting 45% of those declaring insolvency. Medical reasons affected 20% of people. A relationship breakdown was the third most common reason, affecting 11% of insolvent debtors. Sean Stack says facing insolvency can be scary, but it gets easier by getting help.
Picking up the phone or sending that first email is the hardest part. Coming into the office, the moment that we start talking, in my experience, it's like a weight comes off people's shoulders. They get to unload a bit. It's almost cathartic in a way to be able to express the situation that they're in and then realize that there is a way out.
You can find trusted information about insolvency on the Canadian Government Debt Solutions portal or by speaking directly to a licensed insolvency trustee. Zach Gowdy, CBC News, St. John's.
Flu numbers are rising across the country and health officials are concerned. Some hospitals are seeing a surge in severe cases among children, most of whom haven't been vaccinated. And as Selena Alders explains, the worst may be yet to come.
Flu cases in Canada are climbing fast, and kids are being hit hard. At Ottawa's Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario, or CHEO, 8 times more children tested positive for influenza in November compared to the same time last year. Twice as many pediatric patients needed to be hospitalized, and CHEO says most of the kids coming into its ER haven't had a flu shot.
We did see, I think, close to 300 patients coming through our emerge in one day, which is a significant increase.
The Montreal Children's Hospital ER was quiet until mid-November, but it's now seeing a surge in patients, many with flu-like symptoms.
5 to 7 days of fever, cough, malaise, pain in the joints, some headaches, some vomiting.
National data shows positive pediatric tests for influenza A have jumped significantly across the country since October.
My son's had it 3 times now.
Michelle McPhail and her son have been homesick with what she calls their worst case of flu ever.
We'll just let it run its course. I don't think we will get the flu shot.
We do ask our patients and families when they come to the emergency department whether or not they've received the flu vaccine.
Although this year's flu vaccine is not a perfect match with the emerging H3N2 influenza strain, health officials say it still helps.
We know that vaccines can provide some protection against the severity of disease, prevent deaths, prevent hospitalizations, and that's really important. So the message is the same: to get vaccinated.
With peak flu season still weeks ahead, healthcare professionals warn now is the time to take precautions to help ease some of the pressures on the healthcare system. Selena Alders, CBC News, Halifax.
your vehicle.
Well, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas in Poland.
Yeah, people gathered for the traditional holiday crib competition in Krakow, marveling at a parade of homemade nativity scenes.
The event is a tradition in which contestants make models of the city's historic buildings as the backdrop for the nativity scene. The models run the gamut from basic pieces made by children to works of art created by model makers.
Incredible. The best models are put on display at a city museum, and this year marks the 83rd anniversary of the official competition. The tradition dates back to the 19th century when carpenters and bricklayers built nativity scenes to earn extra money during the quiet winter months.
Some very intricate designs there.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, so let's talk about the long-range forecast. Very cold right now and very snowy and wintry out there. Winter is around the corner. How are things looking as we get later into the week?
Yeah, it's officially around the corner, although it clearly is here.
Yeah. Feels like it's here.
It feels like it. We're going to get back to more traditional Newfoundland and Labrador winter, which is, rain on the island and snow across Labrador. Let's take a look at what's going on until we get there. So Thursday is going to feature some much warmer temperatures than we've seen for the last little bit. It'll likely start as some snow overnight and then quickly change over to rain as those temperatures warm up. Now, it'll take a little while longer for the northern peninsula to see that changeover, but you will likely see some snow to start and then a change over to rain into the afternoon. Then we will see some snow push in for parts of Labrador as well, although this won't be as widespread until we get into the evening hours. Most of you across the southeastern portion of Labrador anyway, we'll see that snow as we head towards Thursday evening. Now, across the island, we are looking at some drizzle into the afternoon, along with some periods of rain, depending on where you are. But most of the avalanche should be seeing those periods of rain as we head through the day on Thursday. Overall, daytime highs will range from just barely above 0 to about 6 or 7 degrees. And that will mainly, those warmer temperatures will mainly be along southern areas of the island as well as the Avalon. And it'll take, like I said, a little while longer to see those warmer temperatures for the northern peninsula. So for most of the day, you'll be hovering around -3, and then across Labrador, minus single digits towards the coast, and then still hanging out around -10 to -11 for Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and Lab City. Now, as we look ahead to Friday, that snow will push further back across pretty much a good chunk of the Big Land, and then we will see some much colder air move back in, and that is going to change everything back over to snow Friday afternoon for the majority of the island. The exception will be the Avalon, where temperatures will likely stay a little bit above 0, but as we head towards the evening hours, those temperatures will drop. So a bit of a mess again as far as the forecast goes on Friday. Your daytime highs will drop, like I said, so down to the minus single digits for those of you on the West Coast. It'll take a little while longer for that to happen through Central, so still sitting somewhere around 1 or 2 degrees, and about 5 degrees for St. John's. Up across Labrador, minus single digits, so warming up a little bit, but you will see that temperature drop again as we head into next week. So we'll stay above 0 through Saturday, Sunday, dropping around the 0 degree mark for St. John's and eastern Newfoundland. And then for Central, you will also see that drop in temperatures. Now, it's going to be windy on Friday, that's for sure. And then for Western Newfoundland, you are looking at a snowy weekend at this point, with temperatures sitting into the minus single digits, and then up across Labrador. You will see your daytime high on Friday around -2, but then temperatures will drop quiet as we get into Sunday with sunny skies and a temperature around -12. And then Western Labrador after Thursday and Friday's snow, you're looking at a quiet stretch of weather with your temperature around -13. Speaking of Labrador, a cold, calm day in Lab City, and another another halo there. Thank you so much, John, for that photo. We love seeing them, and we love it when you share your photos with us, and you can do that by sending them to my Facebook page. But the best place is to email them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
That looks cold.
It does.
That looks very, very cold.
But it looks beautiful.
Gorgeous shot. Thank you so much for sending that in, John. And I'm pleased to see that temperatures are going up a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. It's been very cold. Well, like a little bit below seasonable for sure. But that's above where we should be sitting. We need to find a happy medium somewhere.
And I wonder what that will do to the snow that's on the ground.
Yeah, we'll likely cut into it for sure, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. There's quite a bit on the ground.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's it for us. Thank you so much for spending part of your evening with us.
Good night.